Hello everybody, James here, and forgive me if my eyes are darting around. I've got a lot of notes to my right here to refer to so I don't forget anything. So, this video is to let you know that the Franchise University podcast is done. Hardly a surprise considering that we hadn't really posted in months, but unlike other podcasters who's going to bullshit you with the fake reasons of why they're quitting, but actually what they mean is the viewership has dwindled and they can't make money out of it, I'm going to give you the full lowdown. So, viewership decline is one reason, but bear with me, I'll give you the full picture and what is happening next. So, number one, Shane could only record on weekends, and I only had certain weekends I could be free to record as well. So, therefore, we were finding it very difficult to get our schedules aligned in that respect to bulk record episodes. Generally, we do bulk record of 2, maybe 3, usually 4 across 1 or 2 days of a weekend. And that's the reason for constant missed weeks. Number 2, because of the constant missed weeks, as well as a plethora of audio problems in the final third of the episodes, I think, the only seem to ever happen with Shane as well, that we could never get the microphone to work, etc., etc. The viewership has declined to the point that I was actually losing money the last few months we were doing the podcast. But unlike most other people, I actually pay people to work with me because it's a business transaction and that's how it should be. So, number 3, because I only had weekends free, the preparation and the script writing and the post-production stuff was taking out about 3 to 4 weekend days per month. And I already average like 50 hours a week, Monday to Friday, and having half my weekends taken up with a podcast that loses me money is just plain old stupid. So, plus my wife and I are expecting our first baby in a couple of months, and I actually want to be around for the baby rather than holed up in my office working on a project at a net loss. So, the decision is mine alone to cancel the podcast. It isn't a mutual thing because I know Shane really wants to continue it. But I've talked to Shane, I've talked to his management, and they totally understand where I'm coming from because, you know, it's time and money, essentially. And it's as simple as that. So I thoroughly enjoy Shane's company, and he's one of the best subjects to profile for a podcast series like this. He's got great stories, he's got great memories, and he's actually willing to watch the pay-per-views back if we're reviewing a pay-per-view, for example. And he comes out with all these fantastic stories that I don't think anyone's heard before still. We had a huge amount to explore beyond what we already did, but the reasons outlined above the show ends here. To be clear, Franchise University, for its short time in existence, was, for my money, one of the absolute best wrestling podcasts out there. So it wasn't the quality of the content that is sort of causing me to end it, aside from some of the bad audio at times. But now I'm sure some of you have found out by now I'm starting a new show with Stevie Richards that will be debuting on June the 28th. So why am I dropping one show due to time constraints in my personal life and picking up a new one? Now, that is a good question, but it has a very simple answer. Stevie is willing to work around my very limited time and in the weekdays as well, which is very important. And unlike my previous podcast partners, he will actually be picking up an enormous amount of the work as well. So as far as scripting goes, as far as production goes, plus I've got some extra help on my end to make everything very manageable for me. So really, recording this podcast, instead of 4 weekends a month, it was only going to take me a couple of hours a week, if you know what I mean. Not including, you know, like YouTube management, which also I won't be doing anymore in that sense. This isn't a case, also, I need to make it clear, for swapping Shane for Stevie. So time-wise, I'd actually decided to cancel Franchise University. I decided it was unfeasible back in April, which is evidenced by me not posting since, I think, March. But I was still trying to make things work one way or another, and I just wasn't quite sure how to do it or if it could be done, and I'm basically at the point where I don't think it can be done, which is why I held off announcing that the Franchise University podcast would be cancelled until now. So I'd only agreed to work with Stevie Richards in early June, when it would become apparent that that was feasible when the Shane Douglas show wasn't feasible. So that's the reason for that. I don't want anyone thinking that, oh, well, you know, Stevie, blah, 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 I'll just replace him with Shane, that kind of thing. As for the fate of this channel, that's currently undetermined, but for now, keep an eye on it because Shane may take it over himself to do content. It might just become an archive for the podcast we've already recorded, or it might be something entirely different. I've talked with Shane's management, and we're batting around a few ideas to sort of keep the show alive, or the YouTube channel alive in some form. The current plan is for Shane and I to continue doing interviews on WSI, but as a far more sporadic kind of thing, like he was doing previously, as he would just sort of be like a semi-regular guest in that respect on WSI, and we would keep it in the spirit of Franchise University and, you know, review a pay-per-view and go in depth and that kind of thing. So it would be the same as Franchise University, just on a far less regular scale, I guess, or at this point it's probably just as regular. So that's your answer. I'll see you over at WSI Storytime with Dutch Mantel and the debuting Stevie Richards show on June 28th. And I think that's pretty much it on that. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. Stay with us because we're not quite sure what's going to happen. There could be something quite big happening on this channel, but that is something we will determine in the future. But for now, we'll see you over on the other YouTube channels. Thank you for subbing.